The World Bank must finally take action and stop shirking its responsibility. There's therefore an urgent need for, first, binding environmental and social standards, implementation of which must be subject to independent monitoring and for which the World Bank must be accountable.
You could see that 50% of their land was basically agricultural land, 16% forestry, 11% of residential zone, 7% mining area, and 1% power plant. The funny thing about this community is that they produce energy for the entire country, but yet they suffer from lack of energy, lack of electricity for like 12 hours per day.
We've lost cultivation of different products, for example, corn, beans, chili.
No puede ir a trabajar libremente.
The people can't go to work freely.
Hay una crisis humanitaria.
There's a humanitarian crisis.
No hay comida.
There's no food. Basically, the laws benefit those who have the economic power in the country.
¿Ya? Entonces, a nivel nacional no hay ninguna posibilidad de que prosperen denuncias.
So at the national level, there's no possibility that the complaints
y acciones a favor de las comunidades indígenas que están siendo afectadas por este tipo de proyectos.
and the actions of people who have been affected by these kinds of projects are successful.
The reply from her was, quoting, "Oh, only last week I dislocated 67,000 Bangladeshis within 1 week, so I'm not worried about 7,000 Kosovars being moved."
The number of jobs created in that is around 700, and the number of livelihoods, natural resource dependent livelihoods displaced is around 14,000.
The World Bank was there and was very supportive of a new way of thinking about conservation and investing some funds and money into a new paradigm, a new idea of the way that you can think about conservation in Kenya.
But the kinds of extreme abuses that we found were beatings, arrests, all forms of intimidation, and even killings and sexual violence when people refused or indicated in any which way that they didn't want to be moved to the new lands. What this emphasizes for us is the importance of making it explicit that human rights risks are social risks that need to be assessed in the context of World Bank projects.
Sometimes there's too much reliance on that and not much verification of the information provided and the monitoring aspect. So they say, well, we have a good monitoring system because we're requiring quarterly reports on A, B, and C, but nobody verified what was reported.
In particular, so the people not only with economic but also with social and cultural interest in the project area can submit a complaint, and I believe that makes the pool of our potential complainants obviously much larger.
We have had very few complaints which have been directly concerned with human rights per se. They've been largely environmental and some to do with resettlement, which of course is closer to human rights.
That is unfortunately not clear. If these safeguards are now becoming more relaxed, not compulsory, more advisory, it will also weaken the effectiveness of the compliance review mechanism. Our task is to prevent the harm, and if there's indication that harm can happen, then you know that is enough to have a violation.
We usually hire expert consultants that will help us, whether it's on resettlement or indigenous issues, will help us implement the right approach. But we go by ourselves. We go independent from government and from World Bank.
The same complaints come up again and again and again at the bank, and there is no change in policy. We are not seeing the lessons learned at the World Bank. The panel and all mechanisms desperately need a stronger mandate. We can't rely on the goodwill of the banks to do it because they've already demonstrated that they don't have it.
The EIB has adopted a new transparency policy, which was published last week, and the policy is basically a slide towards more secrecy, especially in terms of information about the projects. There is also a presumption of confidentiality attached to the transparency policy in terms of disclosing investigation reports.